What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Warehouse Series. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend going to my playlist and scroll through this channel since there's two parts of this channel. If you did not see this video on Wednesday, please go watch it. It is where I want to take this channel and what I want to add onto this channel. I'm always trying to make this channel unique and trying to do exciting things, and in this video I tell you what I would like to do in the near future. So if you did not see that video, if you can go watch it, I'd appreciate it. Today we're going to Discord pictures. I want to let you know, when you put a picture on Discord, okay, Discord is getting a little popular over there. People chatting every day, people putting pictures on. Just let you know that I do take a day out of my week to go start scrolling through all the chat rooms to make sure that I'm seeing pictures that people are sending me. So just because I don't get back to you right away does not mean I'm not seeing your stuff. But if you do want me to see your stuff, definitely tag my name in your photo. Now, I'm just going over some random pictures I took off of Discord today. We're going to start off with this one right here where someone said, can you explain to me how to throw flowers? Now, I am not at the Perishable building right now, but I throw flowers, and this is definitely how you want to do it. You want to column stack them, especially when you have a lot of these smaller, long, narrow boxes like they have in the middle. Keep the smaller, skinnier boxes in the middle, bigger boxes on the outside. What do you notice where my black arrow is at? One time around. That's all you need. I say that all the time. Pick the midway of your pallet, put one thing of shrink wrap around, and keep selecting your order. So my guess is he has wrap machines at his warehouse. But if you don't, then just wrap the whole thing right there in the aisle. But yeah, definitely column stack your flowers. There's no other way to really do it because you can't turn them over because they have water in the base. Remember that. If you're new to selecting in the Perishable building, the tall flowers have water in the base. So if you turn them over, you're going to get wet. Let's get on to the second picture. This one right here, there's two things I want to say. One, where my red line is, the two blue cases over here, I told this person I would have took the time to turn these cases and tie them in. Yes, you can column stack in produce warehouse, but you do want to tie in when possible. Now, another thing I want to say, okay, so three things I want to say. The second thing I want to say is that these peaches, plums, whatever are in these boxes, apples sometimes, they have little tabs on there because they like lock together. If I was going to turn these two blue cases over, it literally takes a split second. The two tabs that are on the right side of the case, I bend them down. Because if you don't bend them down, you're going to get a slight slant going outwards. But if you bend those two tabs down, you're going to sit flush. Just a little trick right there with those tabs that stick up. If you select produce, you know what I'm talking about. The other thing I'm going to say is these blueberries, don't spread them around. It looks like you have a couple blueberries behind it, and then you put one here. Keep them together. Those open box tops, I always like to keep them together. So the blueberry that you stuck up front should be on top of the blueberry that's in the middle. With that being said, this picture right here, definitely the yellow arrow, you want to utilize your full pallet. We are not utilizing the full pallet. We did not leave us enough room. I know you're a newer selector, but the two dots, the two yellow dots, I don't mind you column stacking, but these two yellow dots turn the whole column and face it towards the middle of the pallet. You always want to face your stuff towards the middle of the pallet. That is the strongest point of the pallet. Running things like that, you're asking for problems because you column stack like you have it right here, go around a corner with it not being wrapped, and you're going to drop it. Face product towards the middle of that pallet, and that would have gave you enough room to leave on the back. Do not put your onions in the middle like that. When you turn the column with these broccolis and corns or whatever you have over here, I would have put the onions right on top. I would have put them right on top of your broccolis facing inwards. Yeah, and then also the onions, when you put them down, they crown in the middle. Sometimes you're allowed to punch them. All right, I punch those onions because if you have a hump in the middle of your bag, then you can't put nothing on top of it. It's just going to fall off. Move the contents around. I move those onions around, and I will try to flatten out that bag as much as possible. All right, once again, I want to show another picture, and this one's the same thing. What did I just say with the blueberries? Open box tops, keep them together. Now, we have a box that looks like radishes, and it looks like there may be blueberries underneath of it. Column stack them straight up the corner. I got no problem with that. Or you can do the column that you have and turn those two radish blueberries facing inwards. We get too carried away with running. I'm telling you right now, nothing really ever comes good out of it unless you have a solid layer. But running the length of the pallet is usually a never good outcome. You want to face cases towards the middle. I promise you, It's what I do, and it works for me perfectly. That's why I always preach the same things on this channel. So that's all I got to say about this pallet. Other than that, it's a great looking pallet, but just get in the habit of running cases towards the middle, and don't be afraid to keep call and stacking up with that stuff. Produce, you call and stack a lot. This pallet right here, someone actually brought up I brought this up before. I don't give a crap what bag I'm throwing. I don't care if it's a bag of corn, a bag of onions, a bag of bakery, a bag of dog food, or a bag of potatoes, or carrots for that matter. I don't care what the bag is. The top of the bag is always facing in towards the middle of the pallet, because these bags pop open. Even though they're sealed, sometimes they pop open, or sometimes they even come on the pallet open. So yeah, just fold them under. I do that too. I'll shake it and I'll fold it under so that flap is facing inwards. That way, if the bag pops open, your product's not going anywhere. The way you have your product here, where these potatoes, the tops of the bags are pointing outwards, you're gonna drop them. If a bag pops open, all your product's gonna go out and your pallet's gonna fall over. I'm guessing these white boxes came before your potatoes. If that's the case, then your warehouse needs to move this crap. Usually these are walnuts or something. I get it, they're boxes. Me personally, I would rather put my potatoes down first. And then if possible, use your breaker pallet to start stacking walnuts on top of that. But I don't know. I just like potatoes being as a base. So with that being said, we're gonna get to another potato pallet, this one right here. This is the same in our warehouse. Our pineapples come late in our order. And when they go out heavy, this is such a pain in the butt. These cases are not light, and they don't stack perfectly because they're open box tops, but I do agree with what they're doing here and tying these cases in. But very well built pallet. Let's get on to the next. All right, guys, let's look at this one right here, some dairy pallets. I want to look at the bottom layer right here. I got my yellow arrow pointing to the bottom layer. Remember the block, okay? Too big of gaps on the base of this pallet. That yellow dot, the direction that yellow dot is going in, you should have 3 cases going across the bottom. So that silk should be turned, and the silk that's on top of the yellow dot should have been dropped down to fill in that layer better. So it's 1 box this way and 3 boxes this way. Look at the block that's on the pallet. So you definitely did not follow the block on the bottom of that pallet. Up where my red arrow is at, I just personally, once again, I like to point cases towards the middle. This column to the right of the red arrow, I would have faced inwards, and the 3 cases there where the red arrow is at, I would have faced it back towards the pallet. My cross and T I always talk about, I preach this because it works. And I've been doing it for over 2 decades, and it works for me. So next pallet right here, very well built pallet. All right, perishable products. We got lettuce, we got strawberries on the back over here. Down where my yellow arrow is pointing, it looks like a grape to me. You have 1 case of grapes, throw it on top of your strawberries. If it came before the strawberries, then throw it to the side. Even though your pallet turned out okay because you had that grape down there, more than likely, these really can mess somebody up. So if you have 1 grape or even 2 grapes, throw them to the side and throw them back at a later time. So if I would have had the grapes before the strawberries, maybe I would have stacked my strawberries and then put the grapes on top, or maybe I'm putting them on the other side of my strawberries. But I just, if I have 1 of something and it's an open box, I usually try to throw it up at a later time. I don't want it on my base but you did a great job of it though, whoever built this pallet. All right, this one here, I just want to show another one that's very well built. We kept square. We got bigger cases on the outside, smaller cases on the inside. The only thing I want to say is that I noticed a couple of your cases on the inside. Some are taller, some are smaller. There's no doubt, guys. Sometimes even if it takes seconds, it's worth it. I would have swapped a couple of these cases around. I guarantee you would have got level going across. I was looking at these cases and I was going to draw on it, but I was like, I think it'll just be too confusing. But all what I'm saying is when you get cases, so your corner right here, you got, I'm sorry, I'm looking at it right now, where your white case is in the middle and your case is on the other side, that's where I would have started trying to level out. You have so many cases that are different heights. Remember what I said, if you have a high and a low, and you get 2 cases that are high and low, swap them around and you're going to come level. That's what you just watching my videos, you're going to get what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to go through these pictures because we got a lot of them. All right, guys, on this picture right here, I absolutely cannot stand these juices being upside down. All right, they have plastic caps that break easy. All right, if you put pressure on them, or maybe you even dropped it, you turned it upside down and you drop it, the caps of these crack easy. If the cap breaks, no one's buying the product. All right, so you damage product a lot easier this way. Who cares if you're saving a little bit of space? Keep them upright. All juices should be kept upright. You should never put juices upside down. Other than that, it's a good pallet. I don't understand the breaker pallet here. I don't know. Guys, it's the same product. Stack them upright. Look at the block. And when you alternate these juices, you're going to tie in your product really nicely. The next pallet right here, cereal. I had someone say, someone commented on this picture saying that you should tie it in. Actually, this is perfect. This is exactly how you want to build a pallet like this. This is the way they come on the pallet, and this is the way you want to build it. You can get away with column stacking this stuff, and then you tied it in at the top. Beautiful pallet, well done, well executed. If you throw cereal, this is how you want to do it. This picture right here, not bad. You did a good job of tying in stuff when you possibly could. You kept switching the direction, but up above we got wide. My yellow arrow is pointing to your box that's hanging off to the side. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't go there. So either turn the box so you're fitting on the pallet or move it to a different spot. But never go outside your imaginary lines because that can possibly get crushed on the truck. So imaginary lines, if you put a case down and it's sticking beyond your imaginary lines, then it needs to go somewhere else. All right, guys, this freezer pallet right here, I believe it is a freezer pallet. The red arrow is pointing to, we got a small case and then we get a big case. Now this happens no matter what warehouse you're at. You get a small case and then you get a big case. So maybe I put the small case down and then the big case came later. Take the 2 seconds to switch them around. Move the small case, drop the bigger case down, and then maybe put the smaller case up or even put the smaller case somewhere else. So it is as easy as that, because I think what happened here is we had a small case, then we put bigger cases on, then bigger, bigger, bigger. And with the small case being there, we had a gap where my arrow is pointing. And the gap started collapsing because these are not light cases. They're heavy. So move the small case. You shouldn't be putting small cases on your corners. What do I say? Big, strong cases on the corners. We want big, strong corners and a weak middle. So that small case should be on the middle. Guys, move the case. It takes a split second to move it, or you're going to have a pallet looking like this. The last picture I want to show you is this one right here. Once again, we got a big time leaner. I know these freezer cases, what it is like the top of the box literally has like 2 inches of nothing. And then the stuff's laying in there. I don't know why they make these boxes so much bigger than what the product is in there. And I also noticed by watching other people select freezer and people posting their pictures that where my red arrow is pointing to, a lot of the times these cases come with that buckled end. So let's say I selected this case off the pallet and it had the buckled end there. People will put them on like this. The same as the open bags that I talk about, the tops of the bags. If you have a buckle end, face it inward. So if it does continue to crush, your pallet's going to lean in and not out. That is my last pallet I want to go over. And remember, dress warm when you're in the freezer. All right, so guys, that's it for today. Remember, post your Discord pictures. If I do not get back to you right away, I will get back to you. And I always go over all your pictures. I take a time out of the day during the week and I start scrolling through all the chat rooms to see if I missed any of your pictures. So keep posting them. And everybody that is helping each other out on Discord, it is super much appreciated. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time.